передай на 16-3. Сергей, выбрали на инфу 1 формат? Инфу 2?
Подтверждаю. На инфу 1 выбран КСП левая, на инфу 2 выбран КСП правая.
Принято. Спасибо. Передан 1-16-3. Сергей, ты можешь вот то место, где у тебя вылез пузырь, как-то ремнем перетянуть, чтобы он, не вылезал? Понимаешь меня? Или это невозможно?
Я понял. Я думаю, что если я привязные ремни смещу чуть-чуть правее, они как раз лягут на это место.
Понял. И еще у тебя вот пузырь вылез на, где-то ты говорил, на 15 сантиметров. Это от ремня на высоту или в ширину? Вот при 15 сантиметров это что было?
Он надулся как шарик просто, поэтому это общий диаметр его 15.
Общий
15 сантиметров, да.
Принято. Передан 1-16-3.
As we continue to watch the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow, where Russian flight controllers will take over the control of the flight of the Soyuz TMA-12 once it reaches orbit and its solar arrays and navigational antennas are deployed. In the last couple of hours, some of the critical milestones leading to the launch have included the activation of systems for the health checks of the radio communications, the thermal control and motion control systems of the Soyuz rocket and the Soyuz TMA-12 capsule. The first stage of the Soyuz rocket has 4 liquid-fueled engines strapped to the side of the core vehicle. Each burns for about 1 minute 58 seconds. The core engine also serves as the second stage engine and continues to burn until about the 4 minute 58 second point of the Soyuz's climb to orbit. The third stage has a single engine that will burn for about 4 minutes and 2 seconds, shutting down at the 9-minute mark of the flight. At this point, the Soyuz arrives into initial orbit of about 143 statute miles at its apogee, about 118 miles at its perigee, and the automated process of deploying the TMA-12 capsule's arrays and navigational antennas begins. From that point on, there will be a series of rendezvous maneuvers to begin to catch up to the International Space Station. In fact, there are 2 mid-course correction burns that are scheduled today, a third one tomorrow, before the vehicle moves into its automated rendezvous operations on Thursday that will lead to a docking to the International Space Station just after 8 a.m. Central Time on Thursday. At the time of launch today, the International Space Station will be flying over the Pacific Ocean just west of Pitcairn Island. Inside 30 minutes now to the launch of the Soyuz TMA-12. Inside the capsule itself, Station and Soyuz Commander Sergei Volkov is in the center seat. Flight engineer Oleg Kononenko is strapped into the left seat as the onboard engineer, and South Korean spaceflight participant So Yeon is in the right seat. The 23.5-foot-long Soyuz spacecraft weighs almost 16,000 pounds, is composed of 3 modules. At the very top is the orbital module. At the bottom is the instrumentation and propulsion module, and sandwiched in between, the descent module, in which the crew resides for launch and landing. That's the only one of the 3 components that returns to Earth. After the spacecraft reaches orbit, its solar array wings are deployed, spanning almost 35 feet, the entire spacecraft nestled inside a protective shroud at the top of the Soyuz booster that is jettisoned about 3 minutes after launch. The crew uses the orbital module, sometimes known as the habitation module, during on-orbit operations. That includes the docking mechanism, the hatch, and the rendezvous and navigation antennas.
You are going to select any format on M.
The descent module contains personally contoured couches for the crew members during launch, re-entry, and landing. This module contains all of the controls and displays necessary for critical flight activities, contains the life support provisions, the batteries for re-entry and landing, and the parachutes and the landing engines that fire just prior to touchdown to soften the Soyuz's landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan. The instrumentation and propulsion module houses the oxygen and storage tanks, the attitude control thrusters, and the communications and control equipment, as well as the avionics equipment that is used for primary guidance, navigation, and control, as well as the computer systems for the entire spacecraft. On board the International Space Station at this hour, as it travels over eastern China, about to begin a northwest to southeasterly course across the Pacific Ocean in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. You see Garrett Reisman, the newly arrived flight engineer, joining Commander Peggy Whitson, and Yuri Malenchenko, the flight engineer, who will serve just 11 days from now as the Soyuz commander for the return to Earth by Whitson, Malenchenko, and So-Yeon Yi. They are actually watching a NASA television feed that is being uplinked to them so that they can have an opportunity to watch the launch of the Soyuz spacecraft carrying their successors to orbit that will occur just 26 minutes from now at 6:16 a.m. Central Time, 5:16 p.m. at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where all of the countdown preparations are continuing on track for today's launch. For Whitson and Malenchenko, this is their 181st day in space, their 179th day aboard the International Space Station. For Garrett Reisman, he's wrapping up 4 weeks in orbit, 26 days on board the station since he was delivered into orbit aboard the Shuttle Endeavour on the STS-123 mission back in March. Reisman will remain on board the International Space Station until June with Volkov and Kononenko once they complete their handover from Whitson and Malenchenko. A handover that over the course of the next week and a half will include robotics training, basically station systems familiarization, an opportunity to have Volkov and Kononenko get acquainted with the massively expanded International Space Station that now enjoys more volume than ever before, almost 60% of the station now having been completed. And back on board the Soyuz TMA-12, you see on the right side of your screen flight engineer Oleg Kononenko, the 43-year-old test cosmonaut of RSC Energia, who was born in Chardzau in Turkmenia, educated at the Kharkov Aviation Institute as a mechanical engineer. To his right, on the left side of your screen, is the commander for Expedition 17, Sergei Volkov, 35-year-old Russian Air Force lieutenant colonel, born in Chugayev in the Kharkov region of Ukraine, a second-generation cosmonaut, the son of famed Russian cosmonaut Alexander Volkov.
Go.